as we move back to Manfield.
More chances here for G2, as right now they have to stop this SSG train that is moving forward after a killer Game 7 7-0 victory. But we'll see whether or not G2 has made some changes in the break.
Daniel recovered nicely to make that save after he just headbutted the side wall and was out of the play for a moment. He'll set up Arsenal. This will fall right to Reddles. SSG not running into each other at all. Arsenal the decoy, and Chicago read the play, making the save right at the end, pinching that against the post. Now it's JNaps against Daniel. Arsenal gonna take this himself for a double. Down to Reddles, and Atomic and Chicago combined for the save. This is similar to what we saw in the first best of 7. SSG bringing the heat early.
Yeah, already just a lot of pressure. But again, even with that early offensive stance, you got to be able to finish. Oh, that's a big bump, but Chicago with a solid read. Can he get this follow-up touch? He can't. Arsenal, free shot, no. Reynolds, finish. He will. SSG pepper the net and strike first.
SSG took about 5 shots here, and G2 didn't even touch the ball. Everything off the post, off the crossbar, and finally, Reynolds threads the needle. And a minute goes by, and we're right back where we started the first series.
Now there's a chance to see whether or not G2, as JNaps tries to do it all himself, can get things under control. Because again, SSG, you got to think, okay, maybe they have figured out a game plan here. Maybe they do know, what they need to do in order to break through G2. Because again, that offensive pressure, that ball's still in there in the G2 end. And you start to look at all this time we've taken. Has G2 figured it out? They drop it down. JNaps tries, and it's an own goal again. JNaps will get credit, but it's off Arsenal.
Yeah, Chicago does a nice job of at least getting this in position for JNaps. It is not really on, but Arsenal has to at least try, and he'll put it in himself. So a huge, huge break for G2. The second one that's gone in off of SSG. And if you discount that goal, Daz, it's still 10 in a row scored by Spacestation Gaming. G2 have struggled to get their own opportunities to go. JNaps trying here. That's deflected away by Arsenal, high up in the air, and Daniel will bring this right at Chicago. JNaps can turn on this, and maybe an opportunity for Atomic. No, it will fall down to Daniel. They had to respect Reddles, who let that fall. Daniel, no. Reddles, no. Chicago swats it away.
Now Atomic.
Got anything here? No. Chicago does, and Reddles with the save.
Close chance there, but again, stopped out. G2 getting those counterattacks. You start to wonder, when is SSG going to fall to those? But I think they have a pretty solid read on him as Daniel moves up. Looking to see him bring up more of a solo effort. As there's a pass, Chicago has the read, but Daniel saw it and cut it away.
And then Daniel realizing JNaps was trying to meet him on the wall. Great play to get around him. Arsenal will get this rebound off Atomic. And now Atomic and Chicago will work in tandem downfield, but Atomic's gonna have to settle for full boost, actually get about 200 boost as he makes his way back and got in JNaps' way, so Chicago has to bail them out, and now everybody from G2 has to reset.
This has been a series where blows have been traded and people have been caught out, just like that. JNaps catches Daniel in a poor spot.
JNaps doing all he can to get G2 across the finish line. Came in with by far the fewest goals scored on this team. But he has come up big in this grand final. Had a handful in that first best of 7. In fact, he had 6 goals. And he's got the first 2 here for G2. They had gone so long without even scoring. Remember, the final 2 goals coming from SSG in Game 6 of that first series, and then the 7-0 drubbing on Champions Field. It's a different story now as Arsenal can't get it to go. Daniel can't either. Oh, it hits everybody, and Arsenal will get credit for accidentally bunking this one in.
I mean, this one is just... Thankfully, SSG...
Look at what I found.
But you can see where everything's just almost kind of falling apart at the seams there for Spacestation Gaming. They get away with that. They're able to tie things up, but I mean, the first shot from Reynolds initially should have been the one that went in.
Well, G2 held him for as long as they could. Post and crossbar finally gave way. Arsenal, a good win against Chicago. Tried to set it up in the middle, but there was just nobody coming for SSG. And now Atomic will play it ahead for Chicago. Both Arsenal and Daniel started on their way back. Communication not quite there defensively, but they don't get punished for it. So now Daniel will bring it across. And this will be Atomic's ball all the way, but Chicago jumped in as he might have seen someone coming in from SSG. And we're seeing so many kind of weird defensive plays out of both these squads. You wouldn't think that they'd already played 7 games before this.
Exactly. The way things have looked, I mean, it does seem like off the break, they've had a really tough time as Arsenal trying to do this solo. Daniel coming up to help out. Still, the feel-out process, as I think SSG expected G2 to come in and make some playstyle changes. And it's been kind of a big feeler here, but Arsenal could get through with this solo. No, JNAPS denies. And you see Reynolds and Daniel both kind of trailing out to try to pick this ball back up.
Nobody took a timeout during that first best of 7. Even when SSG fell down 3-2, they decided to ride it out. G2 didn't take one going into game 7. We might see one during this series. Daniel breaks the 2-all tie off a fantastic feed from Arsenal.
Oh, it's such a good pass. It's so solid. Because you see JNAPS come in, and it's just testing how fast can JNAPS read this and cut it out. Daniel goes up, says, JNAPS, if you're not in the right spot, you're going to get punished for it. And boy, oh boy, does G2. 12 seconds left. We've seen G2 score with 4 seconds left on the clock, but they got to go the length of the field.
And Chicago had to deal with Reynolds chasing him downfield as well, but he at least got this ball out of the danger spot. Now Reynolds all the way across. Atomic can read this, and it's an opportunity for G2 with no time on the clock. They'll be without JNAPS, and Chicago's not in a scoring position. He was trying to run interference. Daniel will down it, and SSG take game 1.
Game 1 going to Spacestation off of just a nice link-up pass play. Arsenal, again, he's starting to get even more involved here. He went from not being able to score until almost game 7 of the first series to now coming alive here in the scoring department, as well as continuing to bring the assists towards it. That was I believe 100% participation, goal participation for Arsenal. As again, G2, they start. You see JNAPS again with a couple of strikes here and there. Still, though, series gets away from them.
Our Mobile 1 high-performance replay, otherwise known as a trip to the circus, in game 1, after that ball just bounced around off of everything, finally found its way in off of the back of Arsenal's car. He was responsible for effectively 2 goals there. He had that one go in off of him at the end, at the early stage off of JNAPS, and now we go to game 2, Daz, with SSG getting the benefit of a 1-goal victory in the opening game, which they did not have after G2 won the only overtime of this series in that first game, which feels like forever ago. And now the mental reset has to come through now for G2, with Chicago getting them started, and he got it to go.
There you go. Chicago taking matters into his own hands, goes off the ceiling, gets the touch, got bumped, and said, hey, I still got enough boost to make a play on this. Good play by Reed. G2 up.
Chicago taking no prisoners throughout this entire tournament. Just doing what he has done better than anybody else in North America. Daniel couldn't stay with this. Chance for G2 to make a mockery of it early, but Chicago will play that high and wide. And Daniel has Atomic right in his grill. Now JNAPS will take over right up against Arsenal, and a neutral 50-50 will be controlled by the G2 Army as Chicago got one in on Daniel. Easy stop. Atomic still yet to score here as he drives through traffic. And JNAPS just trying to jam that ball up in the corner. At the very least, it takes time off the clock here with G2 in front and plays the long game for G2, trying to tie up the series.
G2, those double commits on the defensive end can only work for so much longer, as again we saw JNAPS and Atomic both going for the same ball. Yeah, they get to clear out, but SSG turn this all the way around. Atomic finally able to get a breakaway, and Arsenal will end up coming back. We'll see him in a moment. It's Chicago pinch out to the side, and JNAPS is going to try to track this one down only momentarily for G2.
Arsenal so quick to just about every loose ball. Now Reynolds takes over as well. Arsenal's there. Daniel will catch this. And G2 all together there in the corner. There are about 5 cars in that quadrant. And in the end, it comes away with SSG on possession again. What a catch by Arsenal to try and keep this play alive. And Reynolds looking to hit one back to Daniel, but he's going to come up and challenge Chicago, hit, which he does. And JNaps needs one more, won't get there. Reynolds up just a little bit quicker. G2, of course, Daz, they're content to play this game back and forth with SSG after Spacestation dropped 15 shots in that opening game compared to G2's 7. Not letting SSG get any kind of offensive freedom or any possession at all obviously benefits the team in the lead, but they are doing an exceptional job of it that we haven't seen throughout this whole series.
A lot of people don't understand, if you look at things from the Space Station Gaming side of things, they just handed G2 their first loss in I don't know how long. Like, for them, this is new territory for this roster that seemed to not be able to be beaten. Oh, actually, no, it's the first loss since the Winter Major. I forgot, since he still had the bracket reset.
Ding, ding, ding.
A completely different situation, though. Obviously, this one's setting online, and SSG playing a different play style than the K-Stone boys.
Well, JNaps will get a ringing shot just over the crossbar. And now here goes Arsenal. SSG have not had many opportunities to score, but they don't need that many to take advantage of it. Reynolds pops one away from JNaps. Arsenal going after Atomic. Atomic evades him, and it's Chicago with possession on the other side anyways. Now Atomic around 1. This will fall right to Reynolds, but no possession out of SSG. And Arsenal missed that corner boost initially. That slowed him down for a moment. Now he's up and ready to go, though. Reynolds to the corner. Arsenal got there, and so too did Atomic. Oh, the defensive big brain on Atomic as that's bounced away. And JNaps right to Chicago, but the pass does not connect. And SSG might have been left off the hook on this counterattack effort.
Oh, good touch from Reynolds, though, to push that one towards the net. G2 seem to be scrambling at this point to try to control the ball as Daniel comes up, but hits that straight into Chicago, and Arsenal gets clean beat by Atomic. SSG have had a hard time finding a way in, and can you blame them? G2, when they do get control of the ball, know how to play it away.
Been a different look out of G2, a team that maybe looked like at times they wanted to run up the score in that first best of 7. Now playing absolute lockdown defense against a team in Space Station that has abused a couple different teams in this tournament. A 7-0 win over version 1 during their series right after a V1 timeout in the lower bracket, and then 7-0 on Champions Field to reset the bracket here against the mighty G2. Atomic didn't get anything behind that shot. If he did, he would have scored his first goal of this grand final. Now Daniel up against JNaps, trying to maybe find Reynolds as well. Here is Reynolds. His shot's a little high. Arsenal to follow, and Atomic made that save with Reynolds barreling through the net. Now Daniel with 15 to work with. Arsenal and Reynolds as options. Tried to take it himself, never got the pass away, and G2 just cleared it right off his hood. 7 seconds now as Atomic faked out Reynolds. And he may not score, but it doesn't matter. Atomic has closed it out for G2 as long as Chicago downs it, and he does.
1-goal game there for G2. SSG definitely with some options towards the end, but you can kind of see the miscommunications coming through. Now you have to worry about moving forward here, what things look like for Space Station. Again, not being able to get on the board. A lot of, I'd say, just kind of individual plays coming out from G2 that kind of move the ball downfield. But SSG, it just seemed like some of the passes weren't really connecting from them, and there weren't really that many passes overall coming in.
A rather short Mobile 1 high-performance replay as the only goal comes from G2. It comes from Chicago 8 seconds in here on Aquadome, and now we move things over, as we always do. Game 3 to break a tie on DFH Stadium, Daz. G2, new look here in this second half of the grand finals. What does SSG have to change on their end?
Well, for SSG, it really comes down to, again, being more clinical on that offensive half. It just seemed like they were in, I'd say, not necessarily holding on to possession too much. And G2, again, definitely holding on to the ball more. It was just not necessarily as comfortable as we've seen from SSG. You go back to that Game 7 where they just straight up dominated. Demos were through. The ball was being played so much more faster. Where it seems like SSG kind of slowed down there once they got the game one.
Oh, Chicago got the shot away, and I think this went in off of Arsenal.
This is
3 own goals out of Tishak. Are you kidding? Oh, it's Daniel this time.
That's Daniel.
Okay.
I don't know if it makes it better for you, but...
No, it really doesn't for an SSG fan. So they're starting this one off. Similar to how they started off game 2, an early goal for G2. And doesn't really matter who puts it in, as long as it goes into an orange net, G2 will take it. Reddles over towards Daniel. Got to get around on this shot, and he can. And Arsenal and Reddles almost attached at the hip there as they're coming through the zone. And Arsenal can just pop that back into the G2 end and buy his teammates time to get boosted up and fend off another charge out of G2. We're waiting, I think, to see this guy get going. Daniel, as he comes up empty-handed out of the corner. Reddles double to center, but again, nobody diving in here, and G2 just very happy to send away these rather disjointed Space Station attacks.
Spacestation haven't necessarily been really comfortable. As you see Reddles on the ball, haven't seen him take too many shots, especially looking at that last game. G2, Atomic wants that drop down to set up JNaps. JNaps still put on a good shot despite it being awkward, forcing Reddles to make a goal line save. But more work still needs to be done here for SSG. Again, a lot of their offensive drives are coming up short. You see Daniel with that one, good chance, but the ball straight down to Chicago, no one there to follow up.
Well, G2 have decisively looked like the better team with their strong arm defense. Chicago over Reddles, where SSG seemed a little bit faster to a lot of these loose balls, especially around midfield in the opening best of 7. Now it's G2 winning all of those races. Maybe Space Station Gaming has kind of hit that mental fatigue spot where we were hoping maybe they would take care of business early in the first best of 7. Now it's turned into a war of attrition, and G2 by far the better so far. But it is still at the halfway mark of game 3. Atomic got one in front. Reddles will just boom it downfield. A little dump and chase action here. And Chicago happy to send it right back whence it came, because that's more time SSG isn't on the attack. Now they are. Daniel whiffed on this, and Atomic has Chicago running free downfield. His shot saved by Arsenal.
You see how quickly G2 are ready to put the pressure on Space Station. Once they saw Daniel with that whiff, they said, okay, let's put on the pass play. Chicago ripped the shot through, and immediately now G2 have been jumping on the ball. You cannot afford to show signs of weakness against G2. They have the lead. We know they can hold on to a 1-goal game. They're looking to make it 2, but the shot doesn't go in.
APAC earlier today had a bracket reset. The team from the lower bracket did come out on top. Space Station Gaming trying to come back here in game 3 and do the exact same. Chicago, though, with Arsenal being screened away from the play, able to just dribble downfield. He still got boosted the tank at the end, and Reddles marked him the whole way. Arsenal can't hit Reddles downfield as JNaps had the read. Finally, Daniel to boom it away, and then Arsenal's denied a touch. And this has, again, turned into a track meet. And I think this actually kind of favors SSG, because the more they kind of race up and down the field, the more opportunities SSG can generate.
Right. They are trying to get, again, those shot totals up. They only have 2 shots this game. Daniel and Arsenal have been fairly quiet, as Daniel's right now looking for his first. But, of course, those cutoffs in the midfield and when the ball is played into the corner, that's usually where the offense kind of dies here for Space Station Gaming. There may be a chance in front, but there's always somebody in the net for G2 like JNaps there that is ready to deny.
Into the final minute. SSG fans looking for a reason to wake up. Arsenal for Daniel. This may be it. No, it led him way too far. And JNaps will play that away. Again, Reddles will have to work with a man advantage and can't get that ball in front. Daniel will try now. Looking for Reddles. He's open in the middle, but Chicago closes the door on him inside 30 seconds now. That goes off Chicago. Arsenal bouncer collected by Atomic. He falls into the net, though, and now it's JNaps to take over with 15 seconds. Daniel denied by Naps. Reddles got to make the wide turn here. Final countdown of game 3. Chicago says no. 7 seconds for Arsenal. Bouncer in front. got the bump on Chicago, but the ball came with him. No time on the clock, and G2 has control of the series.
Big win there for G2, especially with seeing how much pressure SSG put on towards the end. I mean, you saw, again, lots of demo plays coming out. Rettles especially started to come alive, and even with Daniel, everything that they tried to do, Chicago was in front of it. JNaps was on the goal line. JNaps and Atomic both with a couple saves apiece here, as G2 once again, 1-goal games here, being, hey, we get our one, we get what we need, and then we will continue to play this matchup and kind of show you can't score. This is a really important moment here for Spacestation Gaming, because you talked about it, right? We go into the second series. They're really, they put in a lot of energy in the first one. Do they have that same energy coming into this next one? And on top of that, can they continue to output on offense? They scored 7 goals in a game, but now they seem to can't score a single one, as they're kind of in trouble here.
This kind of happened to SSG yesterday against FaZe. They had all that momentum, and then they get shut out 1-0 twice in a row. And now I wonder if maybe that's starting to creep in their heads a little bit. They did battle back, and they added a couple goals in the next game in that series, but they also gave up 5. We haven't seen SSG get worked that much on the defensive end in this series, but maybe it's coming. Atomic gonna have that left for JNaps. Demo on Rettles, demo on Chicago. So there goes JNaps' whole plan. And Daniel will just catch here and try to fake out the defense with how much boost he has. Rettles for Arsenal right at Atomic. And Daniel gonna take a late turn, try and get onto this, but it's G2 ball all the way.
Definitely, though, different signs of life for offense for SSG. Looking for each other in transition. Arsenal testing JNaps, but JNaps comfortable on that save out. But again, the pass is here. That's what you want to see from Spacestation Gaming.
All the way across as the first minute expires. Atomic spawned right in behind JNaps there. That's a real awkward spot to come in. Rettles now, full tank of boost, but he gives up possession to Arsenal. Now he'll play this towards the wall, and Atomic is right there. Easy play for him. And Arsenal now with Daniel waiting for a pass. Never going to get there because JNaps cuts it out. Just not seeing SSG generate those opportunities that they had in previous games. Rettles stuffed by Atomic. Arsenal will have that bounce out. JNaps bumped into that ball by Rettles. And now Daniel has to play that up and away, but not really out of the zone just yet. And there's just not much on right now for Spacestation Gaming. Doesn't mean there won't be soon, with Daniel maybe having some time to play this around Chicago. Rettles, gotta have something here. Up high, and JNaps was not fooled one bit.
Chances for SSG. Still G2 in between, making things very hard. But also on the same notion, G2 only have a shot this game. As that drops down, Arsenal trying to keep things in play. Looking for the bump on Atomic, but won't be able to find it. We'll just settle for the boost steal. Uh-oh, demo in the goal line.
Right at JNaps. There's the demo. Arsenal denied by Atomic. He absolutely is superhuman.
Can't believe he got that save out. Now another transition as SSG looking again to see if they can break through. They had the demo play set up. They had Arsenal with a free shot, but he ends up shooting that right at the defense, and Daniel on that goal line will try to stop a transition play coming out from G2. Shaky season, though, for SSG. Not only are we starting to see double commits come out, but they're also throwing the ball away.
And you gotta imagine just this long scoring drought, similar to what they did to G2 before. It's gotta be wearing on these guys. Eventually somebody is gonna get a little antsy and take a chance maybe they shouldn't. Arsenal's giving this one away to JNaps. This has happened a lot. Chicago up ahead. It's on target as Atomic was ready to screen Rettles off the play.
Every time it's Chicago the one that sees an opportunity to strike, and Rettles on his way back, but nah. When Chicago catches you out, puts one of those clear long shots down, it's for a good reason. He has such good ball control, and he shows it there with also his ability to read the game.
Spacestation has not scored since that man, Daniel, put one in with 17 seconds left. The game-winning goal in game one. Rettles just to space, hoping somebody can get onto it. In fact, that someone is him. Now Arsenal bring it in front. JNAPS and Chicago are waiting, and G2 will transition smoothly out of the zone. And now Daniel has Arsenal running lead blocker. Got a piece of Atomic. Flip reset. Daniel's done it again. No, Atomic! Even though he got bumped, he still recovered and made the play.
Chicago dishes a shot out quickly, but Reynolds will get there back in time. Another shot from Atomic. No one home. G2 up by 2.
That is Atomic's first goal between both Grand Finals series. And it may be the dagger the way G2's going here in this third game. Still plenty of time, though. A long minute 8. How about a 3-goal lead? That sounds really good right now, but Reynolds says no. Atomic to follow, and Daniel stopped him. It was halfway across.
Can SSG get 2 in a minute as the time ticks down? Chicago and crew have just been all over Spacestation Gaming when it comes to the counterattacks. And Daniel whiffed there on the goal line, and honestly some shot chances where you wonder if the placement was a little better. Would this be a completely different game and a completely different series? It feels like SSG, though, letting things slip through their fingers.
Chicago across to JNAPS. How many times have we seen that over the last several years? G2 closing in on reaching tournament point. They've had 2 shots already at shutting down SSG. But now, this time, it looks a lot more promising. It's about to be, unless Reynolds has something to say about it, with 5 seconds left. G2, as great as they've been defensively, Daz, they've opened the door a little bit.
And G2's been just, honestly, a defensive monster in this bracket reset. Now they have to stop SSG from doing what G2 did to them in game 1. Can we see a 5-second kickoff play? Daniel has a free ball, but you see the backflip. And now here we go. The length of the field. Tries for the pass. Atomic denies it. And G2 put this on tournament point.
Our statistician in the back, D-Rack, was starting to type out Spacestation haven't scored in a little over 15 minutes. And right as he was typing that out, that little debacle happened in the corner, giving Reynolds a cheap goal, but with only 5 seconds left, SSG cannot rally back. 3 one-goal victories, 2 of them shutouts. That one felt like a shutout here in game 4. So now it's going to be Wasteland, Daz, and it may be the final stand for Spacestation Gaming. And to our knowledge, no timeout. They are going to ride this out, just as they did in the upper bracket against FaZe. They've called 1 timeout during this whole process. It happened after FaZe took a game in the lower bracket just a little while ago. And then they were right as rain. Is Wasteland the end here, Daz?
With the clock getting set up, SSG have 5 minutes to show that they can do something like this. But the problem is, the team that they're playing against just feels unbeatable at times. This G2 roster has shown time and time again, yeah, you may be able to get away with taking a series off of us, but you won't get 2 as JNAPS flux it in to start us off.
As bad a start as you can have here for Spacestation Gaming. Right in behind Arsenal. JNAPS will score his 9th of this grand final. And it is all hands on deck offensively now for G2. Now that Atomic's getting involved in the scoring more directly. Trying to take one around Daniel. Bank almost on target, but Reynolds plays it all the way over. Chicago's still there. And it just seems like every time SSG plays a ball downfield, there is a G2 car waiting for it. This time Arsenal will win this at midfield, though. Opportunity for SSG, but somebody had to take charge. Arsenal, I think, was on his way out of the zone, and Reynolds was nowhere near. Daniel is way back. Can't get a play here. Arsenal, though, can take a shot right at Chicago, who makes the save.
Good save from Chicago, looking for that top left spot. Uh-oh, another chance here for Arsenal, trying to get it to Daniel. Daniel gets bumped by JNAPS, and here comes the transition. Reynolds' awkward spot. He will not be in the play at all. And Chicago goes for the boost steal into the demo. And JNAPS again. This is so controlled and thought out here from G2. Able to create space, create opportunities, and maybe even set up a time, but no, they'll be blocked out by Arsenal.
If you discount that goal with 5 seconds left last game, and I pretty much do, Spacestation hasn't scored a meaningful goal in coming up on 18, maybe 20 minutes. Reddles almost had that going in off of him, but it's a little high on his defensive effort. Now Arsenal around JNaps, but Atomic will have this out of harm's way for the moment. Reddles and Daniel both over there. It's Reddles that takes charge. Daniel waiting. Reddles through traffic. Got it to Daniel. His shot denied by JNaps and Chicago.
Oh man, no one's gonna turn on this one. It's gonna be a transition out. When are SSG gonna finally start to fight back? G2 have been in control and they don't show any signs of stopping. Good read. Transition blocked out as Reddles tried to get a shot through. Arsenal midfield tried to find Reddles again, and it's gonna go the other way. Will it fall? No, Chicago couldn't get the pinch out. It'll move toward the side wall.
SSG gets a lucky break. They got to make the most of it because they won't get many more. Reddles high through the air. Chicago stopped him. Daniel around Atomic, and SSG finally get the big goal they need.
And then we were wondering, when do they start to finally fight back? This one goes straight down. Reddles immediately looks at Atomic, forcing him high. Daniel so smart to play that low. 2 minutes, 41 seconds left as SSG fight for their lives.
It had been up until now, it felt like 6 or 7 G2 goals in a row. In reality, only 3. Daniel. Around here, Arsenal doing a good job getting through the G2 attack. But now it's Atomic, his shot blocked away by Daniel. Juicy rebound, but it's Arsenal that gets there ahead of JNaps. So now Chicago, float one for Atomic, and Arsenal read that play all the way. And now who's going to get to this? Daniel missed initially, but quickly off the wall to recover. Reddles lining up a double. No, Daniel coming on, and he slots it through.
Oh man, just when you think Reddles, oh, he doesn't have the double, who's going to follow it up? Daniel in the right spot at the right time. And of course, it's Atomic in net again, who has to dodge that SSG Dimbo pressure and try to make a save on top of it. He can't, and he's been exposed this game.
Good cheat up by Arsenal, but that went closer to the back wall than he was anticipating. So now Daniel, just like a missile on his way through. Got locked up with Atomic for a moment. Reddles denied by Chicago, but the whole G2 defense is way, way back. So Daniel has a lot of time and space, and when he's had it, he's been deadly. Hey, what? That's a heck of a shot out of JNaps, but it's the wrong net. And Arsenal almost got this ball through. This is just a mess right now defensively, and Reddles will score from the tough angle.
This is not good signs here for G2. You see them bunched up again in that corner. Reddles finally puts matters into his own hands. Good read off of rolling that one in off the back wall. And SSG finally, it starts clicking for them. The question is it too little too late in the series? They got to get away with this game. 1:30 left, and G2 haven't been on offense in a while here.
3 unanswered goals for Spacestation Gaming on their last life. All scored in the last minute. 7. Daniel off the demolition by Arsenal. Can't finish here. And G2 hangs around in this potential closeout game until now. Arsenal bounces one through, and Reddles will get credit for the playmaker.
Look at this. Arsenal jumped off the ceiling, and JNaps thought he had a 50 there. Not a chance. As boy, oh boy, they were quiet for 2 games in a row, but it feels like they finally caught their second win. This has been wild because you look at G2 and the way this team is operated, just when they're on offense, it's scary, Stacks. Like, they're so good and breaking down defenses, but now their defense is starting to be broken down. With a minute left, they're down by 3.
And Daniel, a blistering shot dealt with by Atomic. The decision not to use a timeout, no problem. Reddles just ahead of Chicago. And as the frustration piles on here for G2, they find themselves second best to every challenge. Back to Atomic here, and now it's like SSG is fighting over possession amongst themselves, trying to pad their own stats in a game that they feel like they have firmly in control. Reddles right at JNaps. JNaps not able to move downfield nearly as quickly as he'd like. Daniel intercepts there. It's a freebie for Arsenal, and he scores.
Yeah, SSG lighting up the scoreboard now, and G2 look uncomfortable. You see JNaps, he's looking for that pass to Atomic, but Daniel's so quick to cut it out. And then the whole defense kind of falls apart from there. Arsenal with a clean look on net. Whew. Well, they show up here, Stacks, but you know, they're still in a tough situation here. They got to win the next 2 straight if they want to take this. Keep in mind, I don't think G2's no slouches. They're not going to fall over so easily. Chicago puts that one in just to prove the point a little bit more, as again, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, scoring a goal here, though, just kind of feels like applying a Band-Aid after you've had your arm lopped off. 5-1, now 5-2. As this just delays the inevitable. We will see Neo Tokyo again. SSG, with its back against the wall, comes out fighting. And they fend off G2 for 5 minutes. Can they do it again? You'll only have to stay tuned and find out. SSG are battling back.
Yeah, they are, with such purpose, too. I mean, when you think of this with G2, right, the early start, great play as well for JNaps, a beautiful shot. This kind of turned into a really worrisome moment, but when it clicked for Spacestation, boy, oh boy, did it. As again, you look back at that play, that was amazing. G2 were setting up plays like that the entire time, but of course we saw the individual plays, as well as just moments of brilliance coming out from Arsenal here. A lot of work has come in for this SSG team, and when they have a read on G2, it looks like they can't be stopped. But that being said, that doesn't happen consistently, as what we saw from earlier in this series. How much gas is left in the tank? Because G2 can go all day against you. We're on Neo Tokyo for Game 6. Will we see Champions Field as SSG try to force a Game 7?
G2 know full well what it looks like to see a bunch of goals scored in rapid succession. They did it against Ghost in their upper bracket series yesterday. Atomic denied by Reynolds. Follow-up from JNaps off the crossbar. Daniel might have helped it, as Reynolds will bring this out, and Atomic has that fly over his head, and Spacestation has fully recovered. At least early on here, as Daniel pops one out, and Atomic looking for Chicago's possession really isn't over for G2. Now it is, with that emphatic clear from Daniel.
Good touch in the midfield from Arsenal. Good kind of reads on the plays for SSG. You see G2 all sitting inside their own net when Arsenal goes up in the air. Meanwhile, when they had the ball, SSG were kind of spread out towards that midfield line. No one willing to give ground early here in Game 6.
Reynolds trying to hit Arsenal, and he put it right on the nose through traffic. JNaps doesn't have anything here. Chicago will get there. Atomic thought about jumping. Daniel thought about diving in. Neither went. But they avoid the double commit, and they avoid the overcommit on the side of SSG. And now JNaps up ahead, easily taken away by Daniel. One-on-one Daniel Atomic. Now Chicago in the fray, and Chicago got bumped away, but Atomic stands tall against Reynolds.
Yeah, good read on Atomic. I think he saw what Daniel was trying to do after Daniel had the slow air dribble. Said, okay, I need to make sure to stop the follow-up from this. But SSG still not done. I saw a little pre-jump there from Arsenal. He was looking for the pass from Daniel, but they won't be able to connect with that.
Settle down, T-Shock. Just calm down. The series is still on the line. You're not up 5-0 yet. Arsenal now against JNaps. Daniel in the air as well, but Arsenal's going to call his own number, and he scores!
This T-Shocker going crazy. You see this one, again, gets that dodge, follows it up, no boost, but he doesn't need any to dunk JNaps.
Well, well, well. The G2 Army under fire. Arsenal waiting. Now he'll go up to beat Chicago to this ball, but it's gone backwards, and Daniel had a real awkward play. Reynolds should have this against JNaps. He does. But SSG made that a lot more dangerous than they had to. Chicago, quick counter? No. Sent back in by Daniel. Got to be a lot more clever than that to get by the Space Station defense. Reynolds hindered for a moment by JNaps. Chicago got by 2. Now it's only Daniel to beat. He's up to the task, but Atomic can send one down quickly. JNaps is there, and he couldn't get the touch. That's a big break for SSG. I think if JNaps gets that slam off the sidewall, It could have been a wide open net to shoot at, and Daniel once again booming one away.
Chance out as this one trying to drops down. Lots of good drives, I say, here from G2. The way they're able to move the ball upfield has been well, but you gotta watch out because sometimes they're threatening on defense. That's a double commit again. Chicago last back. He's been in this position multiple times. He's able to do well to buy the team some time, but still lots of scrambling coming out from G2 as Arsenal gets that one past, play out into the corner, and finally ends in some space where Chicago can start to control.
Daniel across as things have slowed down significantly. Plenty of boost to go around. Nobody's been starved out. Want to remind you, Mobile One, the official boost provider of the Verizon Ultra Cup. There we go. I'll just pocket that little paycheck. All right, JNaps now against Daniel. Reddles with a full tank of boost. He's had plenty provided to him in this series. And Arsenal has provided plenty of fireworks. JNaps, floater, easily dealt with by Reddles. And now Reddles in a real tough spot, but Chicago couldn't make the leap of faith after that one. So Daniel and SSG continue to work with the 1-goal lead coming up on the final minute in a game they must win to force Champions Field yet again and maybe get the full 14-game bracket reset. Chicago's got other plans, but Daniel respawns and he saves him again.
What a save from Daniel off the respawn, but that's gonna pinch in! JNaps with the challenge, showing that G2 aren't done yet.
JNaps unassisted as he picks Reddle's pocket clean, and Arsenal could not get anywhere. He had no momentum. 46 seconds remain, and maybe another wild finish here on Neo Tokyo. Reddles against JNaps. JNaps won that one as well. He's got Reddles' number, perhaps.
Ooh, good control.
Now Reddles with JNaps nowhere near him. Does he have a reset? No, and Atomic will take this away with 30 seconds left.
Oh, look at JNaps with that follow. So dangerous with the 50. Chicago with a free look. Tries to play it low into the dunk. JNaps follow-up, but no, he missed. Ooh, he missed. And they'll be pinched away. Chicago, great challenge to buy G2 some time. 15 seconds left. We could be headed for OT, but G2, I feel like they want to sit in the house. SSG's been stuck in their own back end. Even JNaps cutting this one off in the midfield as the clock ticks down. Free ball. Is Daniel going to go? Chicago plays it high. Does Daniel have the read on this? He does. And it will go to the sidewall. How long are they going to keep this one in the air? Arsenal wants to kill it, and that's what will happen. Overtime, game 6.
What a play defensively by Daniel, too. That's a loose ball. It's like a 1v1 kickoff that he has to stay back on. Daniel making the big stop, though. It's JNaps that has forced overtime. SSG were so close. Reddles in front. It angles down, but Chicago read it the whole way, and there's Arsenal bumped away by Chicago. So Daniel has to race back, and he's trying to hit Reddles, but Chicago's there instead, and Arsenal, boy, all these players so familiar with each other, and everybody lets this go. This is dangerous. SSG playing with fire. They're about to get burned maybe by Atomic. Reddles, bouncer in front. Arsenal is there. Off the ceiling. It might have caught a little more of the ceiling than Arsenal would have liked. And here comes G2 again.
Got on Reddles to play that into the corner. Gotta be really careful here. If you're SSG, one mistake, the tournament's over. As again, G2, they are playing with so much more speed behind their plays. Demo comes out. They're not letting SSG get comfortable at all. Chicago's doing work upfield.
JNaps right at Daniel. Look, JNaps has beaten everybody on SSG except Dan there. Oh, Chicago had it in front as Daniel missed off the back wall. And now Atomic and Reddles collide. But it's JNaps for Atomic for the win. Just high, and Arsenal, put it right down the middle. This is dangerous. Chicago and Naps both up. It's Jacob to shoot, and Arsenal gathers on the backboard. Reddles got over Chicago, but now here's Atomic. Daniel had to contend with Chicago and made the save. SSG finally out of danger with that pinch.
Yep, they're out of danger. They're boosted up, and now it's time to see if they can put on some pressure to G2. Doesn't look likely. You see Daniel hesitating back, and Arsenal has to make a big read. Huge stop there for SSG. They, again, are being smothered, though, from G2, who are honestly reading the ball very well.
Reynolds was hoping that boost would be there. It was not. And now Atomic and Arsenal are right there. JNAP shots wide, and Daniel had to be sure not to give an easy rebound as he got that around Chicago and Atomic. JNAP's up, but that's a double commit. This is dangerous. SSG trying to get to Champions Field, and Atomic with a save at the end.
Oh, that was so close.
Oh,
just barely. JNAP's misses. What are they gonna do? Reynolds again flies it over, but no one is going for the ball, and that one gets away from Spacestation Gaming. They have to try again while G2 are barely uncomfortable. They're boosted up, and it's only a matter of time before they break out.
Atomic up the ladder. He's been so quiet. Could he play hero? No. And now Arsenal with Chicago and JNAP's retreating. JNAP's off the respawn. It's Chicago sending this one out. Right there is Arsenal, though. Full control for SSG. Try to lock down G2 in their own half. And Daniel, he's been a little hesitant here in this overtime. Sometimes for good reason. It's in front, and JNAP secures it. G2 takes the Verizon Ultra Cup.
It comes down to this. The backboard read. Reynolds under pressure, and he can't connect with the ball. It's a simple follow-up. JNAPS ends it. G2 win the Verizon Cup.
5 goals for JNAPS in this best of 7 to go with the 6 he scored in the first. You talk about an MVP effort for the grand final series. He was oh so quiet coming in, averaged about half a goal a game, while his teammates like Chicago were up over 1. Atomic came in, averaging a boatload himself. He only scored 1 when all was said and done, Daz. But there is a victorious G2 squad and a lot of relief on the face of their still rather young coach, Sathu.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give it to G2, right? Still consistent. They end up dropping the first best of 7, but of course, they finished this one in 6th as well. SSG fans are heartbroken right now, but for G2 fans, they're still on top. And this is, I mean, this team is so consistent that they end up forcing people, like, again, forcing Reynolds to make that really uncomfortable read. They are challenging anybody who wants to step up to the plate. And it's up to those guys to be able to compete with the standard G2 have set.
Everybody is chasing G2 Esports. And why wouldn't you be? They have set the standard for everybody else here in North America. And dare I say, with the pitchforks over across the pond at the ready, maybe the rest of the world as well. G2 take down the Verizon Ultra Cup, Daz.
Yeah, they do. They take them down, and you know, before we send it back to the desk, Stacks, we got the bracket right. That's right. So
we did.
We're gonna leave it to the desk though to get finished talking with that. You know, we had a bunch of flippers, and let's just see what everybody had to say.